Dame Patsy Reddick, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Sir David Gascoigne.
I ngā mana, I ngā reo, I ngā iwi o ngā hoe whānau. Tēnei atu mihi mahana ki a koutou. Kia ora tātou katoa. I specifically acknowledge the Police District Commander, Superintendent John Price, Akuia, Mrs. Ranu Narimu, Akumatua, Mr. Joe Harawira, tēnā koutou. And I offer a very special welcome to today's honour recipients. It's a very great pleasure to host this investiture ceremony and bring together 9 honour recipients along with their family and friends to recognise the contributions they've made to our country. As Governor-General, I have the authority and privilege on behalf of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of New Zealand, to hold an investiture for her and confer royal honours, our nation's highest honours, on individuals who've made exceptional contributions to their communities and to our nation. An investiture ceremony is one of the most important duties I perform as Governor-General, as it enables me to recognise and thank them on behalf of all New Zealanders for helping to make Aotearoa New Zealand a better place to live. Some recipients have a national public profile, others will be well known in their own communities. But what they have in common is the positive impact that they've had on the economic, environmental, social or cultural well-being of our nation. Catriona McLeod will now read the citations for each recipient and invite them to come forward to receive their insignia. And as each recipient comes forward, I invite you to join with me in thanking and congratulating them for their service to our country. Thank
you. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Ms. Rosemary du Plessis of Christchurch for services to women and education. Rosemary du Plessis has held teaching and research roles at the University of Canterbury since 1974. She co-edited important feminist texts and helped establish the university's Feminist Studies programme. She was Commissioner of Social and Human Sciences at the New Zealand National Commission for UNESCO and a member of the Council of the Royal Society of New Zealand, the Ministry of Women's Affairs Advisory Committee, and the National Advisory Committee on the Employment of Women. She co-convened the National Council of Women of New Zealand's Public Issues Standing Committee. She chaired the Who Gets Born policy document working group for Tai Te Taio, the Bioethics Council. Rosemary Duplessis was a national committee member of the Women's Studies Association and board member of the New Horizons for Women Trust. Rosemary Duplessis, please come forward. Christchurch for Services to Water Safety and Public Health. Dr. Jan Gregor is a Senior Science Leader for the Institute of Environmental Science and Research Limited, ESR, Risk Assessments and Social Systems Group. She's the technical lead of ESR's Healthy Pacific Environments Programme. For the past 25 years, she's been an advisor to the Ministry of Health in the development and implementation of its National Drinking Water Quality Management Programme. She's been involved in numerous projects throughout the Pacific region, helping to improve access to safe drinking water for many isolated and underdeveloped communities. She was president of the New Zealand Water and Waste Association, now Water New Zealand Board. More recently, she's contributed to the Strengthening Water Security of Vulnerable Island States project and the New Zealand Pacific and Development Climate Action Plan 2019-2022. Dr. Jan Gregor, please come forward. Christchurch for Services to Music and Music Education. Tom Rainey is a multi-instrumentalist who worked at the Ara Institute of Canterbury for 28 years, including time as head of the Department of Creative Industries. He was a founding tutor at the Jazz School and head of the School of Performing Arts. He mentored and taught high-profile musicians and influenced the New Zealand music scenes of the 1990s and 2000s. He's collaborated with the Christchurch Symphony Orchestra as a conductor, arranger and performer. His arrangements have been performed internationally, including by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra at Carnegie Hall in New York City. Mr. Rainey is a trustee of the New Zealand International Jazz and Blues Festival and the Christchurch Jazz Foundation, chair of the Andromeda Arts Trust and treasurer of the Christchurch School of Music Council. Mr. Tom Rainey, please come forward. rugby. Karen Reid played for the All Blacks for 11 years, including 52 test matches as captain. He's made 156 appearances for the Crusaders, scoring 125 points, and was captain from 2014 to 2016. He played in the 2008, 2017, 2018 and 2019 championship winning Crusaders teams. He is the third most capped All Blacks player in history with 128 test caps. His 19 consecutive wins as captain are a world record, and he's one of only 20 players to have won multiple Rugby World Cups, winning in 2011 and 2015. He also captained the All Blacks to a bronze medal at the 2019 Rugby World Cup. Mr. Reid has been an ambassador for the Yellow-Eyed Penguin Trust and the Child Cancer Foundation and has assisted with other charities. Mr. Karen Reid, please come forward. For services to wildlife conservation. Anne Richardson is the Wildlife Manager at the Isaac Conservation and Wildlife Trust, ICWT, a self-funded charitable trust that's helped to prevent the extinction of several native endemic New Zealand birds. She has worked at ICWT for the past 28 years. She developed and managed the only captive breeding facility for kakariki, karaka orange-fronted parakeets, pioneering methods to incubate eggs and raise the chicks, and establishing a breeding population to re-establish kakariki, karaka populations back into the wild. Ms. Richardson has also made significant contributions in developing captive breeding programs and holding protocols to support ICWT conservation efforts for the kaki, black stilt, Fio blue duck, Pateke, brown teal, Tutu ruatu, shore plover, and many others, playing a key role in their preservation from extinction. Ms. Anne Richardson, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Ms. Carol Bartle of Christchurch for services to health, particularly breastfeeding education. Carol Bartle was the coordinator of the Canterbury Breastfeeding Advocacy Service and is now a policy analyst for the New Zealand College of Midwives. She has advocated for the protection, promotion and support of breastfeeding since the 1980s. She's taught seminars in New Zealand and overseas. She helped to establish the Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative. She was a member of the New Zealand National Breastfeeding Committee and is a member of the La Leche Leagues New Zealand and International Professional Advisory Groups. She was involved in establishing New Zealand's 2 donor human milk banks. Ms. Bartle is a board member of West Christchurch Women's Refuge. Ms. Carol Bartle, please come forward. David Harvey of Christchurch for services to the New Zealand Police and the community. Mr. David Harvey, formerly Detective Senior Sergeant, spent most of his 40-year career with the New Zealand Police, leading serious crime investigations with the Criminal Investigation Branch. His investigations have included the murder of Olivia Hope and Ben Smart and the shooting of staff at the Ashburton Work and Income Office. He was the New Zealand Police Liaison Officer following the 2002 Bali bombing. He's been instrumental in victim advocacy and has developed strong links with support agencies. He played a key role in forming a constructive relationship between police and the New Zealand Prostitutes Collective in Christchurch. Mr. Harvey has had a long-term commitment to developing trainee detectives. Mr. David Harvey, please come forward. Smale of Motueka for services to seniors, the community and horticulture. Peter Smale has been a director and chairperson of Abbeyfield, New Zealand, a charity that provides sheltered housing for the elderly. He was a driving force behind the opening of a short-term accommodation house in Motueka. He's involved with St Andrew's Uniting Church, an official of Nelson Marlborough Swimming, a Motueka Rotary Club member, a past Rotary District Governor and a former trustee on the Motueka High School Board. During his career, he made significant developments to new crop introductions as a horticultural researcher and advisor for several government organisations and state-owned enterprises. Mr. Smale was a member of the Royal New Zealand Institute of Horticulture. Mr. Peter Smale, please come forward. Service Medal, Mr. Richard Scadden of Granity for services to the community. Richard Scadden has been a long-standing member of Freemasons New Zealand, holding multiple high offices. He initiated a support program for the West Coast Helicopter Rescue Service. He volunteered for the Scout Association of New Zealand. He was Deputy Chairman of the Northern Buller Communities Society Incorporated. He was a member of the Granity Beautification Committee, Chairman of South Granity Water Board, and a Buller Citizens Advice Bureau volunteer. He is Sub-Branch Secretary at Westport RSA. He's been Treasurer and Chairman of the Granity Reserve Board. Mr. Scadden has fundraised for several other community organisations. Mr. Richard Scadden, please come forward. The investiture has concluded.
Our honours system is our nation's highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces values and behaviours that sustain our communities and help our nation thrive and prosper. And these include service, courage, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of knowledge and excellence. By using their talents to make ours a better society, whether by service to their communities or by their leadership in diverse fields, or their commitment to excellence in their own field of expertise, our recipients have set a fine example for others. To the recipients, it's been a privilege to hear your stories today. You've demonstrated determination, commitment, and compassion in your daily lives. In your own way, each of you has helped make Aotearoa New Zealand a better place to live. In some cases, your influence and the positive impact of your work has extended beyond our shores. Your actions and the stories we've heard today reflect the spirit of the words of the late, great Nelson Mandela when he said, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead." On behalf of all New Zealanders, I thank you for helping to make Aotearoa New Zealand a better place to live. Whether by dedicating your lives to the public good, achieving distinction in your chosen field, or inspiring others with your leadership. Please wear your insignia with pride, knowing that your contribution is recognised and valued, and others are inspired by your example. Kia ora koe tātou katoa. Ladies and gentlemen, that almost brings to a close the formal part of today's ceremony. But before we break for our refreshments and photographs, I wonder if you might stand and join me in singing our national anthem.